All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. It's Friday, April 17th, 2026. We're very glad you're with us this morning. Please note this event is being recorded and will be uploaded to the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window will not appear in the recording. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2007, I started facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. This group's been around since the late 1990s. I took it over in 2007 when the prior leader landed a job. In 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org, a website to help those unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, I launched careerusa.org to help those around the United States. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. It is available on Amazon, or if you see me in person, I always have copies with me. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team, and you'll hear more about the PIT crew in just a few minutes. Our agenda this morning will start out with success stories and then go to everybody do their 30-second introductions here in the room. Then we'll get everybody's 30-second introductions online. Then we'll share job leads if we have any recruiters online with us. We'll then hear from the interview success workshop, the practice interview team, and the career tip of the week. And then we'll have our main event about the top of the hour. I'd like to start the meeting off with good news. Do we have any landings to announce? Anybody? Anybody online landings to announce? Well, we did have some landings. The following 6 people told me over the I every couple months I send out an email to anybody who's disappeared over 90 days and I moved them off the active list into the inactive list. And these people have responded back to me saying that they have landed. Christy Grant Coleman is the training manager at DSV Logistics. Kimberly Ballard Mason is working at Behind Every Door as the Director of Communications. Brandon White, account coordinator at Right Now Media Ministries. Amanda Boyle, material and environmental compliance manager. I'm not sure what Joan's doing, but she said she landed. And Darren is working in financial analyst FP&A, and he landed in January. So every night, when we don't see people, they just disappear. It's, you don't want to tell anybody good news. So these people have told me that they've landed. Okay, what we'd like to do now is for everybody who's online, if you will, open up your chat box, type in your name, the position you're looking for. Give us a couple target companies that we may be able to help you with. Give us your email, your LinkedIn address. And if you have companies that you can help, that you have connections and you can help somebody else, please put those in the chat window, if you will. Let me make sure I've got this turned on. We'll put 30 seconds on the clock for y'all to get started. Oops. I always forget when I have the audio on. I can't do anything else here. Let me get one thing set up here real quick. All right. All right. We want to do everybody's introductions who's here in the room. So if you will, come up, grab the microphone, and everybody come do your 30-second introductions.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Todd Haney. Uh, I am looking for a role in customer success and implementation. My target companies include Field Pulse and Motorola Solutions. I have contacts through my association with the Association for Talent Development, and also reach out to me on LinkedIn if there's anything in my contacts where I can help you. My name is Todd Haney. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. John Hamer, Technical Project Manager. I'm looking for a position as a project manager or supply chain and vendor manager. I'm also looking for connections at Motorola. My name is John Hamer.
Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning, y'all. My name is Tim Farrell. I'm an electrical design verification engineer. I write computer programs and hardware description languages that verify that circuits are error-free before the big money is spent to put them into silicon. My target companies, BAE Systems. I also have target companies for which I have interviews coming up with Apple Computer and Micron. I have connections at Raytheon, and my name is Tim Farrell.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is David Turner. I'm an HR systems analyst with deep expertise in success factors security. I make sure the right people and only the right people have access to employee data. I don't need any contacts this week. I can possibly help with contacts at PepsiCo. My name is David Turner.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Eric Nowak. I'm a senior program and project manager. I find the truth in the data and specialize in the areas of data analytics and ERP software. My name is Eric Nowak.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Belzil. So I'm seeking a director of product management role. So I manage products that help companies ring their performance bell, convert data into dollars. So I'm looking for contacts at Keurig Dr. Pepper, Hershey, or 7-Eleven, and I have contacts at Walmart, Circana, and Epsilon. My name is Mike Belzil.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Steve Hendricks. I'm looking for a network or system admin job in IT. I don't have any specific companies. I have connections in the home building business, non-IT, and my name's Steve Hendricks.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Paul Husar. That's H-U-S-A-R. I'm a director, VP of customer service and or technical support, leading call centers. My buddies at the recruiting firm Humcap have been posting a lot of things. They're looking for a director of HR recruiting, a controller, as well as a number of other positions may be worth checking out. Ring Central is looking for me. If you know someone, please help them find me. I'm Paul Husar.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Anthony Archery, Senior Retail Operation and Merchandiser. I worked for Walmart 16 and a half years. I have contacts at Walmart and Sally Beauty Supplies. Anthony Archery.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Polly Dunn, a Senior Administrative Assistant. I specialize in office management, onboarding, and creating workflows that reduce stress and save time. I'm currently looking for roles as office manager, which I also have experience for. My target companies are BGE and Ready Ice. And Ready Ice was a job lead from Kurt Vandermatter, which I followed up on. I did the Teams meeting interview with the SVP this week, so I'm waiting to hear back on that. And it's just like an occasional, so like for 3 months, but you never know. And also with BGE, I have made a connection, a possible connection, and that would be a great job if they connect with me. My name is Polly Dunn.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Sally Bennix. I'm starting something new. Sally Bennix, bilingual in business and technology, and I am the human in the loop. As a technical or IT business analyst, I develop deep relationships to make sense of people, processes, and technology, having accelerated delivery time from 2 days to 30 seconds for key financial reports. What do? I uncover business requirements that solve problems to drive business growth. Sally Bennix, to borrow Paul's phrase, Rolfson Oil is looking for me. ROLFSON. They're in Addison. Or if you know their, PE partner, Titan Holdings, TYTON Holdings. I'm looking for contacts. I have contacts at Wells Fargo and Texas Instruments. Sally Bennix.
Thank you.
Hope I didn't walk into the wrong ward over here. Good morning. I'm Phil Elsner. I'm a senior PMP project manager. Healthcare is a great place for me to be managing projects. That's what I would love to do. I'm Phil Elsner.
Thank you.
Kurt Schaffenberg. Wow. Senior systems developer, analyst, and former guitar player of Felix. I'm trying to figure out who I am and why I'm here. This is my first visit since 2019 in person, and having fun and just discovering what I'm going to do next. Thanks. My name's Kurt Schaffenberg.
Thank you.
I forgot to mention one thing. Robert Half has a ton of openings, particularly in accounting, controllers, senior accountants, staff accountants, and HR folks. I have a recruiter if you need a contact.
Thank you. All right. Let's go to everybody who's online right now. If you will, go and raise your hand. Open up the little bar at the very bottom. Raise your hand. That way I know to call on you and won't call on you 3 or 4 times like I've done in the past. William, I'll let you go first.
Good morning, everybody. My name is William McLaughlin, currently seeking a business analyst role. And 2 of my target companies are Cinemark and Dave & Buster's. Again, my name is William McLaughlin, and my birthday was last week. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, Scott.
Well, happy belated birthday, William. Scott Boutreau, Certified Planning Inventory Management, looking for a supply chain job in central New Jersey or remotely specializing in inventory control or production planning. Scott Boutreau.
Thank you. Tracy.
Good morning. My name is Tracy Harris. I'm a senior search consultant with Thomas Edwards Group. We're a boutique staffing firm focused in accounting, finance, HR, and IT. We do direct hire, contract, and contract to hire placements. We're local to the DFW area. Happy to be here. My name is Tracy Harris.
Thank you. Ann.
I'm Polly, and I'm an IT program manager, and I'm looking for my target companies is HPE, Hewlett Packard, or T-Mobile. And Polly.
Thank you. Bill.
Good morning. This is Bill Allen. I'm an executive sales professional. My role is growing your bottom line sales into double-digit growth in gross margins. I specialize in the industrial market as a manufacturer's representative and direct support to end users. I don't really have any target companies. I've worked with a lot of manufacturers, so I'm already connected with them. But I do have contacts at a local company in Fort Worth called KPS Global. My name is Bill Allen.
Thank you, Bill. Gerald.
Good morning, everybody. This is Gerald Castillo. I am a senior test engineer, actually, and I am targeting test measurements roles, particularly in defense companies or wireless communication. My name is Gerald Castillo. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Cindy.
Good morning. I am Cindy Greenberg. I am looking for strategy and technology roles in the healthcare industry, focused primarily on strategy consultant or senior manager type roles. My current companies that I'm looking at are Healthcare Service Corporation, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas, USAA, and then as kind of a side thing, I'm looking also at the North Texas Food Bank and Hallmark Corporation. I have contacts at National Government Services, NASCO, former EDS and HP Enterprise Services, and some of their related spinoff companies. Again, my name is Cindy Greenberg, and I'm happy to help whoever I can. Thanks.
Thank you. Nikki.
Good morning. I am Nikki Duncan, founder of SWH Fractionals. I offer fractional chief of staff and operations specialist work for small companies where the owner is carrying all of the load and they need to get out of survival mode. I am looking for small or micro business owners who need help. I'm Nikki Duncan.
Thank you, Marty.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. My name's Marty Upton. I'm a director of IT, head of security for in the healthcare industry for smaller healthcare startup organizations. My job's not to say no and slow the business down, but to find a way to move the business forward while reducing risk. I'm currently seeking roles similar in nature: senior manager, VP, director. Target company this week, Medical Home Network. I have connections at Heritage Health Solutions here locally and Intention Healthcare in the New York area. My name is Marty Upton.
Thank you, Verlissa.
Yes, good morning, everyone. My name is Valisa Madden. I am looking for roles like senior manager, director, or above as internal audit director, SOX director, business process improvement. I need contacts at companies like Vistra Corp, T-Mobile, Mercury. I have a whole list that I posted in the chat, and I have connections at AT&T and Deloitte and Grant Thornton. Again, my name is Valisa Madden.
Thank you, Florence.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Florence Hogan. I'm a strategic research and market intelligence leader. I bring clarity to complex, fast-changing environments. I deliver actionable insights and support strategic planning, market expansion, and customer service. Again, my name is Florence Hogan.
Thank you. Anybody else online? Oh, Rosanna.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rosina Gallman, and I'm your Career Tip of the Week host. So I'll be back shortly. I'm looking for a position as a senior talent acquisition business partner, senior recruiter position, HR generalist, or HR specialist, all in recruiting or HR. And I need contacts at T-Mobile, TIAA Frisco, and a company called Access, AXXESS. I have contacts at a variety of different companies. So as we connect, feel free to let me know who you might need an introduction to. And again, my name is Rosina Gallman, Senior Talent Acquisition Business Partner, Senior Recruiter, HR Generalist, or HR Specialist. Thanks so much.
Great. Anybody else who I haven't called on online? Going once, going twice.
Jeff, this is Patricia Gulich. I am having a lot of trouble with my video this morning.
Okay, go ahead. You give us your 30-second introduction.
Okay. My name is Patricia Gulich, HR professional, looking for HR generalist, manager, HR business partner role, target companies, American Heart Association, Gateway Services. I'm looking to try to get into. Those are the two big ones right now. Oh, and the city of Richardson. I do have a fair amount of contacts, including some recruiters in town. But with the influx of HR roles here, not having a whole lot of luck, a lot of them don't have that. I'd be glad to connect with anyone. Patricia Gulich.
Great. Thank you very much. Anybody else online? All right. Tracy, tell us what's going on at Thomas Edwards Group.
Yeah, I think I've said this the past few weeks. Lots of contract roles. So we have, interesting enough, an influx also of high-level contract roles. So looking for heavy hitters and managers in financial reporting and FP&A. Also, we've got some in regards to specialty payroll positions requiring ADP or that type of thing. On the IT side, we recently got an ADP Workforce Now consultant. So that's something that I can highlight there. Something that's a little bit different for us, we also have a contract role for a process documentation role. It's with a financial services organization, so they are requiring financial services industry experience. So yeah, we've got a lot out there, but all of our positions are posted online at thomasedwardsgroup.com.
Great. Thank you very, very much. All right. Time to hear from Walt Glass in the Interview Success Workshop.
Hey, Jeff, can I butt
Yeah.
in before Walt goes?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's Nikki Duncan. I have a couple of, I know, Patricia, you just said you wanted to contact at the American Heart Association. I have a couple of jobs that the American Heart Association is hiring for. They're hiring for 2 development directors, and they're hiring for one the job that is mostly like an operations specialist. Both are on, all 3 are on site in Irving. And if anybody wants information or contacts for that, let me know and I can make that introduction. I just spent 9 weeks intensively with American Heart Association. So I know people now.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Time for Walt. Go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Walt Glass. I want to congratulate Nikki for your recent recognition with the American Heart Association. Nikki, well done. Good job. So I am a retired information technology. I'm a Jack Benny, 39 years, and that if you don't know who Jack Benny is, you can listen to the topic today about how to age, to fight the age thing, because I just aged myself. So what do? I like to help job seekers through their job search. Everything we do, from our resume, from LinkedIn, from networking, all of that all leads down to the interview. And so out of the job search repertoire of things we must learn to do, I picked interviewing as the rubber meets the road in that event. And so I would like to help people move from just responding to selling. And if you want to learn how to sell, the 3 elements of who I am, what I do, and how I can help, I have developed the Interview Success Workshop for you. It is free. You have to be registered to attend. I do it on Tuesdays from 9 to 11 on Zoom. I have a couple of people. You interview each other from the questions list that I give you from the 12 basic categories of questions. And we talk about strategies, options, structures, ways that we can approach answering and responding. It's not just to say, here's how you answer question A and here's how you answer question B. There's always options and topics depending on the question, who's asking, and where you are in the process. So I'd love to have you participate with that. Look at my LinkedIn About section. It'll tell you, it gives you my Yahoo address and my phone number on the banner page. Send me an email to my Yahoo address and say, I'd like to sign up. The QR code on the screen will start you that email to make it a little easier for you. I'd just like to know how you learn about the workshop. And I will put you on the wait list and get you on the schedule. I'm glad to have you participate. So I'll call it Learning Without Squirming because it's a very informal, it is not a mock interview. So we may as well have some fun while we're learning. Looking for work? Well, give us a nod. Don't be that bump on a log. To master our career job search, listen to Sheri's topic from this here church. I am Walt Glass.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. The practice interview team.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm Paul Hussar here for the practice interview team, and I am so excited to tell you about this organization. I don't know. I'll let you know. The practice interview team is just that. It is a mock interview. If you are interested in participating, you can submit your resume, a job description, either one that you're preparing for or an aspirational job description to practice to. And you'll be matched up with 3 panelists who will conduct an interview. The panelists conduct extensive preparation and research in anticipation of the interview and will give you direct and immediate feedback afterwards. Our motto is practice early and practice often. We are always looking for panelists. If you have been a hiring manager who has hired and have had to fire someone, you're eligible to be a panelist. I can tell you that participating in this group at any level, as an observer, an interviewee, or a panelist, you will learn something new every day. It's an excellent organization. We meet here from 1 to 3 every Wednesday afternoon on the first, second, third, and fifth Wednesdays of the month. On the fourth Wednesday, we are remote. That is next week. Next week, we will not be here. We'll be online. Thank you. I'm Paul Hussar.
And for the first time in many, in the last couple of years, I actually got an email from the Dallas Pit Crew saying they're looking for more candidates. They need more people. So if you're interested, now is a good time to get on their schedule. All right, let's see here. Time for the career tip of the week. Good morning, Rosina.
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. So glad to be here with you. All right. Today's career tip of the week, I'm actually going to kind of hit highlights of the article. So please go back and reread the entire article. It's really good. It's full of great information. It's just in the interest of time and our speaker, I want to make sure that I'm not taking over the time window. So this week's tip of the week is examples of strengths and weaknesses for job interviews. And this article is by Top Interview. So, although you can never fully anticipate what questions you'll encounter in your job interview, there are a few go-to classics, including what are your greatest strengths and what is your biggest weakness? At first glance, they may seem like no-brainer questions that you can easily answer on the spot. However, they carry a lot of weight, and it's a perfect opportunity to really impress the interviewer and showcase the value you can bring to the role. In this article, we show you how to talk about your strengths and weaknesses in an interview. Instead of getting caught up or caught unprepared, you can use examples as inspiration to help you craft a perfect answer. So, why do interviewers ask about your strengths and weaknesses? Well, understanding the why behind the interview question can help you formulate the best response. Chances are, when an interviewer throws out that question, what are your greatest strengths and what is your biggest weakness? Those interview questions, well, they want to understand if your strengths align with the job requirements, how the strengths will play with the team members, that you can strike a balance between overly humble and arrogant, and that you are able to self-reflect, as well as whether you can turn a weakness into a lesson to turn things around. So because of these common interview questions, you might hear different variations of them, such as what makes you the best fit for this position? What would you reference? What would your references say about your best quality? What would your previous supervisors say was your hardest challenge that you faced? And there's a lot of other questions that go on as alternates. Once you answer the question, the interviewer might ask a follow-up question. For instance, they might want to hear about a time when you really showcased a specific strength or how your strength helped to achieve one of your greatest accomplishments. Now, how do you determine what strength to highlight? Well, figuring out the strengths you want to highlight in your interview can be difficult. To start, here's some examples of some strengths. Just as highlighting analytical thinking, versatility, communication skills, motivation, leadership. There's a variety of them on the screen and in this article. So now that you've highlighted some of the strengths that you're going to focus on, how to answer what is the greatest strength and that question as well as with an example. So consider any concrete results, and it can really make you consider any concrete results. It can really make your answer shine. If you need help thinking about some different scenarios, of course, you've been here. We always say use the STAR method. So, situation, briefly talk about a situation or an event where you used your strength. This should be just a couple of sentences, clear and concise. Task, outline the task at hand and what exactly was what you were responsible for. Action, highlight what steps you took to ensure the tasks were completed and use these action items to show off your strength, and especially when you relate it back to the job description that you're reading from. And then result. What was the final result of the situation? Talk about your ultimate accomplishment, and if you can find ways to quantify your success with numbers, and again, tie everything back to the job description that you're of the position that they're interviewing for. Now, how to properly answer what is your biggest weakness? Well, this is the time for some serious self-reflection. Just like with talking about strengths in your interview, you want to you you want whatever weakness you talk about to be aligned with the job description. So ask yourself a few questions. First, what was something I failed at? And then how did I turn that situation around? Or have you ever been in any major changes in if there's any major changes in your knowledge or your abilities? And then how did those changes occur? And again, there's several questions that you can ask yourself as a reflection. So then there's some sample weaknesses that you might want to consider. Um, what you could say you're having trouble saying no, or some time management issues, overly self-critical or lack confidence, public speaking, impatience. Those are just some samples of weaknesses that you could use if you don't already have some. And then what you want to do, you want to curate your answer. So the good news is that there's a formula that you can use to answer basically what is your best weakness. First, you want to say what your weakness is. Second, provide an example. Third, talk about what you did or are doing to correct the issue. And fourth, say what the results are. And then practice, practice, and then keep on practicing again to make sure that weakness comes out clear and concise, but ties directly back to the job description. And then to get it right and to get the job, well, you want to prepare for an interview because it's challenging. But when you take the time to figure out the answers to common interview questions, including what are your greatest strengths and what is your biggest weakness, you'll be sure to impress the interviewer and get the coveted job offer. Now, I did say that this article was produced by Top Interview, so please note the Top Interview is a fee-based service provider. Career DFW is not promoting the use of these services. We are providing the information contained in articles for use to help educate you and help you land your next job. I hope you guys enjoy this week's career tip of the week. Again, it is examples of strengths and weaknesses for job interviews. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody.
Thank you very much. All right. Today for lunch, we're going to go to Mama's Pizza, 2130 West Parker Road on Parker. It's about a half block west from Custard. They've got a pizza buffet, pasta buffet, big salad bar, and of course, my favorite, the hot cinnamon rolls. So come join us today. 11:45. We'll be there at Mama's Pizza. All right, if you want to receive today's materials, you'll get a copy of the speaker's presentation. You'll get a link to the YouTube video when this video gets posted in the morning. You'll get a copy of the career tip of the week that Rosina just read with all the details. You'll get a copy of the Zoom chat. To do that, make sure that everybody who's here in person that you signed, check your name off on the roster so I know you're here, or if you're brand new, if you fill out the little slip of paper, and if it's legible, I will get you added to the roster tomorrow. For everybody who's online, please make sure your email address is in the chat somewhere so that I know you were with us. I've seen some names on the chat, like somebody is called iPhone, so I'm not really sure who iPhone is. I don't think Steve Jobs is with us today. So if you will, please make sure you get your email address in the chat window. That way I can get everybody online, and you'll get a copy of all this information tomorrow. Here are just a few people. The list gets smaller and smaller every week. If you're on this list, please give us your email address so I can get you off the list and get you added to our roster. All right. I want to thank Nikki for scheduling our speaker today. And Nikki, I'll let you introduce our speaker.
All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm happy to introduce Sheri Bardot, who I met through my career journey. Sheri is a certified career coach with over 10 years of experience helping professionals, especially those over 40, navigate today's competitive job market with confidence. With a master's degree in psychology, career management, and counseling, and a master's in organizational management and leadership, Sheri brings both strategic insight and deep understanding of human behavior to her work. As a certified EQ life coach and positive intelligence coach, Sheri specializes in helping experienced professionals overcome the unique challenges of ageism in the job search. She empowers clients to reposition their experience as a competitive advantage and rebuild confidence that aligns their next career move with their strengths, values, and long-term goals. And Sheri, when you are ready, you should be able to share your screen and take it away.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much, first of all, for having me here. What an amazing group that you have. I just want to, give you a heads up. I'm having it's glitchy for me. So I'm hoping you can hear me and you can see me. I think I might want to shut my camera off. So, maybe that'll reduce some of the friction that I'm seeing and I'm hearing. So I'm going to shut my camera off. And I'm going to share my screen. So give me 1 second and then we'll get into this. And thank you for that lovely introduction, Nikki.
Yeah.
1 second. Okay, let me just shut this off. And let me know if you can see that okay.
It's on its way.
Okay.
It says it's about to share.
Okay.
There we go. You're up.
Okay, good.
Very good.
Okay, great. Again, my name is Sheri Bardot. I'm a career coach. I specialize in helping people who are combating ageism in the workplace. We know that's really, it's real, right? So let's dive into this. And I will be sharing basically like a tool to help you, like a checklist to help you in your job search afterwards. So let me just, 1 second. Okay. Okay, so this is what we're going to be working on today. We're going to be looking at the current workforce trends, debunking stereotypes. We're going to be looking at self-assessments, job search strategies, resumes, networking and online presence, and interviewing. And it looks like you have a lot of great resources in this group. So some of this might be redundant. Hopefully there'll be some little nugget that you can take away from this that will help you in your job search. Okay, so let's look at workforce trends. So interestingly enough, we are up. The participation of people in the workforce 65 and up has increased from 2020, which makes sense because we do have an aging workforce. No, real surprise here, right? We are up 5.2 million from 2020 of workers who are 55 plus who are employed, and the unemployment rate for 55 plus is down 0.5, which might seem contradictory because people here are looking for jobs, but this is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and this is the most current data that I found. Now, sometimes when we're looking for a job, we might come up against different industries that maybe aren't as open to older workers. So I thought this was interesting to look at the research and see what are the top industries that workers over 50 are thriving in. And education and health services was number one by a mile, right? I work in education services. So I work at a university, and actually 2 universities. And that makes sense. I'm over 50. I'm in my 50s, and I haven't had any problems getting work in those industries because those industries respect our experience, respect our knowledge. So just keep that in mind when you are thinking about looking for a job. What industry accepts me? What industry values my expertise and my experience? Okay, so let's look at some of the stereotypes that maybe some, recruiters or hiring managers might have. And keep in mind, many of these recruiters or hiring managers could be younger than us, right? So a myth they could maybe, have is older workers can't or won't embrace new technologies. But the reality is experienced workers use resources. They are able to upskill and they are able to maintain their skills. So we have to make sure that we demonstrate that. We also have this myth that older workers they're set in their ways and they're slow to change. But we also know that experienced workers have years of adapting to change, and we can demonstrate that. We've been through the recession. We've been through COVID. We maybe have been through the .com recession, right? So there's been a lot of things that we have adapted to. Another myth is older workers are less productive and won't stay around. Actually, the reality is experienced workers provide consistency and they're less likely to job hop, right? So if you feel like you're coming up against ageism, make sure this is expressed throughout your interview. It's expressed in your LinkedIn profile and in your resume. Okay. So when we're looking at our next position, we want to definitely know ourselves, right? When we're looking at our job search, what we valued maybe 20 years ago could be different now, right? So we have to uncover our interests currently. What are we interested in right now? If we're not sure, there are career assessments that you can take to help you flush that out, tease that out. And you'll see a website on that later on of where you can go for that for free. Okay. We want to also make sure we evaluate our skills and our strengths. How do we do that? We look at the job posts that we're interested in. Do we have the skills that they're looking for? Do we need to upskill? You have to self-analyze. If we do need to upskill, there are many resources out there that you can do. Certificate trainings, free or low-cost certificate trainings to upskill. Organizations like you mentioned where you can maybe volunteer to gain some more experience. From the previous speaker, if you have a weakness, let's say in leadership, look at these different groups that you have here. Are there ways for you to volunteer to gain more leadership experience? There's always ways to fill in that skill gap, but you have to know what your skill gap is if you have one. Okay. You want to make sure you define your career values for where you are now. I know that when I was in my career 20 years ago, I valued different things. I wanted things to move fast. I wanted more innovation. Things have changed for me now. Now that I have a family, now that I'm in a different stage of my life, my career values have changed. So make sure you check in with yourself. Are they different now? And then when you're doing your research for companies you want to work for, do they have matching values? If it's a company that values innovation and moving fast, and that's not your value, don't apply for that job. It's probably not going to work out. You could be kidding yourself. You want to match your values. Last thing is easy, salary expectations. What salary are you looking for now? Do the research to make sure it's realistic. Do the research to make sure that you can understand what those bands are and how you can negotiate them if necessary. Know your budget, know what you're willing to accept on the lowest level, right? You don't want to kid yourself in any of these things. You need to know your interests. You need to know your skills. You need to know your values, and you need to know what your salary expectations are. I always tell this to clients. You want to think about these. I call them the career exploration principles. Think of them as 4 legs to a table. Okay. If just one of those legs is wobbly, the whole thing is going to fall down eventually. You can have a job that you're making great money in. You could have the skill set for it, but maybe you really are not interested in it and it's not aligned with your values. It's probably not going to last long. So make sure that you really take some time to know yourself and do the research on the company or the position that you're interested in so it is a good fit. Okay, so now we're going to switch over to resume tips. Okay, your resume is your marketing tool. This is signaling that you are a qualified candidate. Now, I know it can be exhausting to tailor your resume every time for a job position, but there are AI tools that you can use, artificial intelligence, things like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, things like that, where you can use the right prompts to quickly tailor your resume. We don't want to be overly reliant on using AI because we don't want to suck the soul out of it. And we don't want to eliminate your personality and your experiences because those are valuable. But you do want to make sure that you tailor the resume. Again, the crowd here, we're older individuals. We know that we used to just create a resume with everything we've done, right? All of our work experience. If we've worked in government roles, sometimes those resumes could have been 6 pages deep because they wanted to know every single role that we have worked, even down to the hours that we have worked. That has changed drastically, especially over the last 5 years. Many of you probably know, but it doesn't hurt to reiterate, that many large companies use what's called an ATS system or an applicant tracking system. And what that is, it's nothing to be scared of. All it is it scans the resume to see if the resume has the keywords. The keywords are the skills, qualifications, experiences, and education that they are looking for from the candidate. They put that on the job post. They want to see that's in your resume. Okay, why? So they can quickly see if you are the right fit. We do understand that some people will get rejected very quickly. They'll put in their job application. They go, oh my goodness, in just a few hours, I already received a rejection. That could be a resume issue. Also, the formatting of your resume is important. And when we get further along, I'm going to show you a sample resume. And if you guys are interested in getting a template, I can also send that to you as well, or a working template that you can use if you don't have one. You want to make sure in your resume that you're focusing on relevant experience, recent experience. Remember, we are combating ageism. So it's not like, well, back in the day, I did this, or, for 25 years, I did this. Okay, for 25 years, you did this, but what have you done recently? That is going to help position you in a way that shows that you are relevant, you are with the times, and your experience and your knowledge is relevant now in today's job market. Okay, so make sure on your resume that you're emphasizing that. De-emphasize the older dates. If you have experience going back, past 15 years, get rid of it. There are ways to highlight past experiences that are older on your resume. And, of course, I can show you how to do that. But simply, you would put a section that says previous related experience, and you would just put a little blurb about how that previous experience from back in the day is still relevant to the position now. Okay. You want to avoid an objective statement and opt for a career summary. You always want to think about what is the company's pain point? What is the problem that they need solved? Whereas an objective statement, if you remember, was more like, I'm looking for this. This is what I'm hoping the company can do for me. We need to flip that. What can I do for the company? Okay, so you want to make sure that you are coming from that approach. How can I solve your problem? Okay, and again, mention a recent win there. Why? It's the first thing that a recruiter is going to read, so it needs to be strong. On my website, later on, you'll see that I actually have a free profile summary builder that's a step-by-step on how to create an impactful career summary, because that is super important. Okay. Next, you want to showcase your skills. Back in the day, we didn't necessarily have a specific skills section. Now we know that employers are heavily relying on our skills. They're looking at that in our resume, they're looking at it in our work experience, and they're comparing it to the job position. That job post is gold, so make sure you analyze it. Okay, you can actually take ChatGPT, you can take the job post and load it or copy and paste it, however you want to do it, and ask it to pull out the top 25 keywords. Remember, the keywords are skills, qualifications, education, and experience that they're looking for. And then you can go, do I have those skills? Oh, yes, I do. Make sure you put them in your resume. There's no guessing involved. It should be clear to the recruiter. It should be clear to the hiring manager that you have the skills that it takes for this position. It doesn't mean putting all the skills you have. We know you have tons of skills. We know this. You have to cherry pick the skills that they care about. And lastly, use a simple computer-friendly format. We don't want to have a lot of tables. We don't want to have a lot of columns. We want to make sure that it's easy to scan and we're reading from left to right. Hope that makes sense. Okay. So the anatomy of an effective resume. Now, I don't know how well you can see this resume that I put on here. I'm more than happy to share this actual template that I've created. Okay. So you probably know about this, but it doesn't hurt just to go over the different sections of a resume. Okay. So we're going to make sure up top, we've got our contact information, including city and state. You don't need your complete address. So you have to remember, little things that we do or don't do on our resume can signal our age, right? So we want to avoid things that are going to signal our age. Even though we know it's valuable, we want to start off on the right foot of showing that we are current visually. Okay? So we have our city and state only, our cell phone. Now, we know we've grown up with a landline. We've used a landline for a long time. Just include one phone number. That phone number that you can, that you're using most often to get a job, to get an interview, to get calls for that. So stick to one number, usually a cell phone, your email, and your LinkedIn profile link. That's important. If a recruiter likes your resume, they're jumping onto LinkedIn. Okay, so make sure that's up there. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, that's something we can talk about at another time. Okay, introduction. Why should I read this resume? That's what I'm talking about. That is your summary statement there. Okay, so you want to make sure that starts off strong, because that is the first thing that they will read. If you notice here on the sample resume, it says customer success manager. It doesn't say career summary. It doesn't say profile summary. It doesn't say objective statement. It says the job title of what you're applying for. So every time that you go to submit your resume, just change that. That's a pro tip there. Okay, change it to the job title that you're applying for. So that means, yes, you might have to change it every time you submit that resume, but it takes 1 second and it's going to quickly demonstrate fit. Okay, let's go to the skills section. Now, what I like about this resume style is it hits you with the skills in the professional skills section, but it also hits you with the skills right under the job title. So if you see here, the strongest skills are client services, customer relationship management, and account management. Why did I choose those? Because I, as a job seeker, have analyzed not just one job post, but maybe 3, 4 job posts for that position. And I've run it through AI and I've asked AI in these 4 job posts, what are the top 10 keywords or skills that are needed for this position? Take the top 3, rank them in order of relevance. Okay. And so you take those top 3 and you put them up there. So you have to understand it's a marketing tool. So you have to, boom, put it in their face, make it easy for them. Don't make it challenging for a recruiter or a hiring manager to determine if you are the right fit for the position. Okay. Going into the skill section. Again, like I said before, you have tons of skills. You don't have room for all the skills that you have. Look at the job post, analyze the job description, do some research of what that job is about, and then put the skills that are highly necessary for that job and put them in this section. I like to put those right up top because we know that hiring managers and recruiters are looking at that. We don't want to bury it at the bottom. This is a 1-pager resume. It's absolutely acceptable to use a 2-pager. With all of your experience, you might even struggle getting it down to 2 pages. But really, we don't want to have a 3, 4-page resume. It depends on the situation, but ideally, we like to look at 2. Okay. Experience section. Detail your relevant roles, accomplishments, and impact. So what does that mean? We're switching from a place of I was responsible for, which just says what you did. But now we want to use the formula of what I did plus how I did it plus what was the result. Right? So when I say what was the result, can I use any type of quantifiable data here? Did I increase a process by a certain percentage? Did I decrease something by a certain percentage? Did I manage a budget of, X, 2 million or 3 million? Did I manage X amount of people, X amount of projects? Anytime we can put a number to our experience in our experience section, it's going to be more impactful. I always use this silly example. I don't know if Nikki remembers me using this, but I like to use it because it's silly and it's quick to realize the impact. Let's say you and I are friends, okay? And you say, hey, Sheri, let's go get some coffee. And I say, I can't get coffee right now. I have too many kids. And you go, it's okay, Sheri. Many of us have kids. Just bring your kids to the coffee shop. And I go, no, you don't understand. I have 14 kids. You go, in your mind, things shifted. You're like, you can see those 14 kids. You can see that chaos. You can see that overwhelm. And you're like, whoa, no problem. We'll just come to your house for coffee. But just a second ago, I told you I had a lot of kids. So this is what the power of numbers can do in your resume. And another pro tip is highlight that quantifiable data. If you can see on this sample here, on the things that I quantified, I've bolded it. So you can highlight it by bolding it. Okay. We're helping that recruiter or that hiring manager, we're helping their eye. Where do we want them to look? We're guiding them. So that's what that's for. Okay, education. Highlight your academic credentials and any relevant courses or projects or honors that you have achieved. If you have a degree from 1995, just put the degree on there, take the year off. If you have relevant certifications now, put that on there. You want to show, remember those myths and the reality? You want to show that you're constantly upskilling. You want to show that you have the technology skills. You want to show that you know the approaches and skill. You have the skills that are needed now. So you can show it through a certificate or training. You can get some of that experience by volunteering, other ways to demonstrate it. Okay. Optional sections, any type of licenses, any type of micro badges that you might get from school or from LinkedIn. That's a great way to get some micro badges, things like that. You can add that as well if you have the space. Another thing that's not on this presentation, it's kind of making a comeback in some areas where, if we remember, we used to put our hobbies, right? So just be, that is okay to put that on there if you have the space, but make sure, again, those hobbies aren't dating you or aren't aging you. And also make sure those hobbies that you put on there are not too scary. You wouldn't want to say, and I love jumping out of airplanes on the weekend, right? But maybe something relevant, like I train, I'm an active, marathon runner, and I'm training for, a 10K or something like that. So that is fine. And the reason why that in some instances has been making a comeback is because of AI. So AI can be a blessing and it can be a curse. And what's going on is because so many people are hip to using AI, a lot of resumes are sounding exactly the same. So any way that you can personalize it and stand out as a human being, go for it. Okay, now we're going to switch over to professional networking. Okay, this has been a steady throughout my career and probably yours. Networking is key, right? How can we network? We can use LinkedIn. Okay, we know that 95% of recruiters are on LinkedIn, so we need to make sure that we can be found. So we want to make sure we have an up-to-date professional profile. Now, many recruiters are looking at your LinkedIn. They don't have your resume. They're just searching for you on LinkedIn. So you have to make sure that's a whole other, presentation that we can do, but we want to make sure that it's up to date. Okay. Now, LinkedIn can be a little bit more dynamic. Now, I told you before, we really want to kind of cut it off at 2 pages. Where on LinkedIn, we can go and put all of our work experience if we want. We can show some work examples on there as well. We can also have our recommendations from people that we've worked with or clients that we've had that we can't put on our resume. So think of it as a complement to your resume. It works hand in hand. Okay. We can also establish some connections in the industry that we want to be in, or maybe even some, contact some past connections. Okay. So, and also it gives us an opportunity to share our thought leadership, right? We want to be able to demonstrate our expertise, be able to teach others some of the things that we know to show our value. Okay. I know I probably don't have to say this, but we want to also keep our comments, if we're commenting or something on LinkedIn, keep it professional, nothing political, nothing that would, be perceived as polarizing. Okay. You can create content on there that reflects your skills and your abilities. Make sure it's consistent. So think about yourself as a personal brand. Think about one of your favorite brands. Let's say, I don't know, let's say Starbucks. Okay, let's say Starbucks is one of your favorite brands. And if you're looking at their brand, and let's say they started posting about veterinary care and they started posting about dogs and cats, you would be like, what is Starbucks posting about? That's not on brand with what I know about Starbucks. So clean up your LinkedIn. If you've got random things in there that you've posted because you thought it was fun or you thought it was cute or you thought it was interesting, that's great, but maybe save that for Facebook, okay, or your Instagram. On your LinkedIn, streamline it, focus on what you want to be known for. It's okay if you have to go and delete some things. It's okay, just do that. Again, you are controlling the narrative on LinkedIn. What do you want to be known for? Also on LinkedIn, you can join relevant groups. You can join alumni groups from your university. You can join other groups. Let's say there's project management groups or operations groups or things in your industry. You can connect with people in those groups. What are they doing to land jobs? Do they know of any opportunities that are available before they hit the job boards, right? So make sure you build that community. Take a minute to think about that, right? Are you guys active on LinkedIn? If you guys want to drop that in the chat, feel free. Just say yes or no. Are you active on LinkedIn? If you aren't active on LinkedIn, that's something that you can do immediately to move the needle. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. Go to here. Ooh. Okay. So again, some other things that you can do for networking and leadership is share your expertise to support other people's growth, right? Consider being a mentor. It looks like here in this group, you have lots of opportunities here to support others. Volunteer in areas aligned with your interests or expertise. That's the key, aligned with your interests and expertise. You can volunteer for other things that aren't aligned with your career or expertise, but think about being strategic at this stage as you're, looking for a job. Okay, you only have X amount of hours in the day, so it might be beneficial to make sure you're volunteering or mentoring in the zone of where you want to be working. Okay. Make sure you're attending industry conferences and events. It could be virtual, it could be in person. Get involved in professional associations. Many, job professions have their own professional associations. So for me, as a career professional, I have an association that I can join and I can learn more about what's going on in, career. If you're a project manager, there's associations that you can join for project management. If you're an accountant, you can join associations for accounting. There are plenty of associations, and many of those associations, like maybe the SHRM, right? They also might have job boards in their association. So that could be a great way to get access to jobs. I know one of the associations that I belong to, the Career Consortium, they are always, sending me jobs, which is great. And a lot of times I repost them on LinkedIn because at this point I don't need a job. Okay. But it also, just know that if you don't need the job per se that's being sent to you, you can repost it. And that shows that you're active in that community. And just, seek out roles that enhance leadership and visibility. Okay. So if you can drop it in the chat, if you're open to it, what is one thing that you can do today to engage your network? Because we can go to a webinar, we can take a course, we can watch a video on YouTube, we can, look at things on LinkedIn, but we need action. So what is one thing that you can do today to engage in your network? If you want to drop it in the chat, you might be inspiring somebody else who didn't think about, oh, they could do that. There's lots of ways that we can engage with our network. We want to start with our inner circle, our friends, family members, neighbors. I've had people get jobs from neighbors. I have gotten a job through a neighbor. So tap into those resources, groups like this, associations, LinkedIn. What are other ways that you can engage? Think about that. Okay. Interviewing strategy. So as you see, this is like a holistic presentation. So I'm touching on a lot of different things. I hope I'm not going too quick for you guys. So interviewing strategies. Make your experience your advantage. Many people dread going into an interview. Oh, you know, this person is younger than me. They're going to think I'm out of touch, right? So we want to spin that and make your experience the advantage and why they'd want to hire you. Focus on the last 10 to 15 years. I would say focus on the last 5 years if possible. I've always been someone who builds strong teams. Throughout my career, I've led change during different times of transition. This is showing your experience as an advantage. But give specific examples. It's not enough just to say, I've led change during times of transition. Give me an example of that. How have you led that transition? What was the impact of it? In the past, we used blank system, but I learned blank to stay aligned with current industry trends. Here is how I did that. Give an example. Okay. Highlight how you stay current. Is it podcasts that you listen to? Is it going to this group? Is it AI trainings? Is it certifications? Is it webinars? You know, and I know that AI is the biggest buzzword right now. And, you know, I hate to say it, but you've got to be riding along with those trends to stay relevant, right? So this way you can bust that myth that you are adaptable, that you can evolve, that you know what's going on in this workforce. So you can maybe drop that in there, even mentioning that in your resume, mentioning that in your LinkedIn, mentioning that in their interview. Your resume, your LinkedIn, and your interview is all supporting your personal brand. What do you want to be known for? Research the company culture. It's really important. Okay. Understand what they value. Understand, what their culture is like, right? This is just, a little caveat here. If you know that the company culture is more casual, dress casually, but just one notch above it. Okay, that's just a little tip because some people are like, oh, should I go into my, suit and tie? Unfortunately, that can age you. But if you're going into a top level position, an executive level position, that could be expected. So that's why you have to do the research. You don't want to come in jeans and a t-shirt if it's for an executive level position, but you don't also want to be in a 3-piece suit. So you want to make sure that you know the industry and how they dress and how they present themselves. Again, it's fit. People want to hire people that they get along with. People want to hire people that they fit with. Okay. And then approach those generation gaps with confidence. Are you good at mentoring people? That's an advantage that you can mentor the junior people so you can help with their succession planning, right? Again, always approach it as this is a benefit of having someone with this experience. Okay. With my years of experience, I've learned how to stay calm under pressure. One of the things about being older typically is we have more emotional intelligence. We've learned that not every fight has to be our battle. We've learned how to stay maybe calm under pressure because we've seen the ups and downs. We've seen the cycles in industry and in the economy. So we're able to ride that wave better. Okay. I've worked with a wide range of teams and enjoy mentoring and learning from others. I'm not just being the mentor, I'm open to learning from others. Now, my boss at where I work, she's younger than me, but she sees I'm always so willing to receive feedback and to improve my coaching or improve, whatever it is. I'm always open to that. Okay. And you have to demonstrate that. Don't assume they know that. Communicate that. Technology, technology, technology. Make sure you're weaving that into your interview. Make sure that's in your LinkedIn. Make sure that's in your resume. Because that's one of the things that the myth is that, older people, they don't know about technology. So demonstrate that. I know there's some people on my team that are older and are a whiz at technology. So I know that myth is not true, but if someone is interviewing you that's younger, they might not know that. So maybe you can say, I led virtual meetings on Teams. I've completed online trainings through Coursera. I've used Google Drive to collaborate. Look at the software, look at the technology, look at the platforms that they are mentioning in the job post. If you have experience with them, I mean, these are kind of general things that I put in this presentation, but be specific. If they're talking about Salesforce and you have experience in Salesforce, then talk about that, right? If they're talking about, different pivot tables or Excel and you have experience in that, explain that and talk about that. Don't assume that they know that. Even if it's on your resume, emphasize it again. Okay, make sure that you're prepared for your interview. Download and test the interview platforms, whatever you're using. Use AI tools to generate sample interview questions. You can use AI. You can use ChatGPT. I'm not plugging ChatGPT, but just one of the tools you can use. You can actually take the job post, copy and paste it or upload it, and then you can ask AI, based upon this job post, give me 10 likely targeted interview questions and give me sample responses based upon my resume, then upload your resume. And it'll give you those sample interview questions with sample responses. Again, you're going to tweak it. You're going to personalize it. But this will help, just give you some clarity and make it easy for you to be prepared. There are some free tools like AfterView, Point AI and freemockinterview.com that you can use that actually you can speak into the camera and you can put the interview questions in there and you can practice them and it'll give you feedback. Okay. If you're not comfortable with those tools or you want to try those tools and then you want to take it to the next level, you can also do a mock interview with a career coach like myself, or, the other gentleman was talking about the interview prep that he has. So make sure that you're using those resources to prepare. I mean, most of you seem very, very confident, but it can't hurt. It can't hurt to be prepared. Okay, now some people don't know. There's some additional resources that I wanted to talk about. AARP actually has some work and job resources that you can look. They have job listings. They have resources to help you in your job search, right? It's a great publication. Okay, so check that out. I was on the website the other day and I was like, wow, they've really evolved in supporting older workers in the workplace, in the job search area. Again, make sure you're engaging with your professional associations. Consider a new credential or certification in your industry. Share your knowledge on LinkedIn. Volunteer or serve as a mentor. I mean, those are some of the key takeaways that you can do to support your job search. Okay. For additional support, like I said, I do have a downloadable free PDF. If you go to personalstrengthcoaching.com, you can download that. That'll help you with your career summary. You can schedule a career advising session if you want. Before I mention, there's a website that you can use to do assessments and also to do some key research. It's called ONET. It's a free government website. It's amazing. Not every single job is listed, but if the job post that you see is not robust enough, sometimes job posts they're not robust, they're kind of sparse. You can go on this website, ONET, and you can see a complete exhaustive description of a job. And you can also see if that job is trending for future growth. That's important too. Just like you don't want to be, knocking on a door that's not going to open because your skills and your experiences aren't the right fit for that industry. You also want to look at the jobs. Is that job still a viable industry or a viable job for my skill set currently? Is that going to be a growing field? Okay, so make sure you explore that as well. And that's all I have for today. So I thank you so much for listening. I hope that this helped you. I am going to, once I get off this presentation and stop sharing here, I'm going to drop in a checklist that you can use to help with your job search, okay, and kind of keep you focused. And if you have any questions for me, you can absolutely ask me right now. I don't have, unlimited time, but I'd be more than happy to help you with that. Okay. So let me just stop my sharing.
Questions for here in the room. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Jeff. Hi, this is Phil. Thanks for talking to us today. Great stuff.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I've got two questions. The first had to do with the resume that you put out there. I think it was yours. The print was so small, even with 30-year-old eyes, I'm not sure I could have seen it. My eyes have been 30 for a long time, but I did notice on the right side of it, even though I couldn't see any details, it looked like you had a sort of a tabular format of skills. I saw 3 columns on there. Does that not run counter to what we want to put on a resume for ATS to be able to make sense of it?
I'm sorry. I stopped hearing you. You mentioned about the 3 columns and then
Right.
it cut off. I'm sorry. What did you say?
I'm sorry. Let me try to state it a little bit better. I did see the 3 columns of skills you put near the top of your resume. I thought I heard you say don't use any kind of a tabular layout on resumes because ATS would be confused.
Right. So we're not putting like a table in there. We are just putting those columns in there, and that should be okay. This is an ATS compliant resume. And I can also send you guys a different resume style if you're hesitant with using this type of template. But this is the thing, right? You could be like A/B testing. You can test one type of resume, see if you're getting hits, and then you can use a different style and see if that's getting past the ATS system. And one of the things I really want to stress is the networking and the LinkedIn, because we want to get around that ATS system. So that's one piece of it. We want to have a strong resume, but if you feel like it's not getting past the ATS system, I can give you a different template as well. When we get off of here, I will email that over to Jeff to make sure he's got all the great resources to email you guys. Not a problem.
Okay, that would be good. I don't know if there'd be any way that we would know whether or not it passed through ATS. We don't usually get feedback about that. I never have. But that notwithstanding, my other question has to do with you went straight to LinkedIn. That's where I was going. You're also talking about 95% of recruiters, you said, do use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is pretty much a compendium of everything we've ever done. So if we're trying to hide, if you will, age, then somebody going to LinkedIn is going to look back at the beginning of time on our LinkedIn profile, and they're going to see that we've been around and have done work for a very long time. How do we square those two ideas?
Well, you can take off the older experience that you've had if you think that that experience isn't even relevant to the position that you're applying for. And again, spin that into valuable experience. Okay, I've had this, and what is my thought leadership? So they're not just looking at, okay, this is all the work experience, it's the keywords in there. So make sure when you're listing your work experience that you're putting the keywords in there for the job post that you're looking at now. So even if you have some older experience in there, I don't know, let's just say pivot tables, okay? And that's something that's really necessary for the job that you are applying for now. If you've got that keyword pivot tables in a recent job, put it in there. In an older job, put it in there. So the older experience is not seen as irrelevant. It's seen as valuable in supporting the job that you want now. There's no magic, formula that's gonna erase your age, but it's all about spinning it to show relevancy. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, moving on here. Tim, I also can depend on you to ask a question.
Yeah, I always have a question. Yes, if ageism is illegal, has there been any activity by the Department of Justice to curtail this practice?
We know that we have laws against this. We know this, right? It's just very hard to prove. And so, unfortunately, this has been going on for a while. And now, as we know, the population is older. You're going to see it more just because we have an older population. But proving it is very difficult. So, no, I don't know of any new initiatives that they have to combat ageism, in the workplace, unfortunately.
Alim, I see your hand up. Go ahead and ask your question.
Yes. Hi, good morning. Thank you, Sheri, for this presentation. I will review it again and afterwards, just kind of to make sure I fully capture what you presented today. I have a question about the LinkedIn profile. So if ageism is an issue, then do you recommend that I keep some of the prior experience in my LinkedIn profile? However, I remove, the years. Because I was actually looking again now on my LinkedIn profile while you're going through the presentation, and it does show actually my education, and it shows that I went to college back in like 2000 or something. So I mean, it's not difficult to do the math and kind of identify where I am age wise. So anybody can do that, and I don't necessarily want to hide that. I mean, it is what it is, but how do I not make it a factor, if you want, in my LinkedIn profile?
I agree. It's you can't always hide it. So how you can spin it is, what are you doing now? Where do you want them to look? Where do you want them to focus? Do you want them to go all through your education section and see your degree from 1995? Or do you want them to see the certificate that you just got 2 months ago on AI prompting or using AI, to improve processes? So that's what you want to put up top. Right? So show what your relevancy is now and make sure that you are active in your posting and you're following the companies that you want to work for, and make sure that you are commenting. If they're sharing something, I don't know, about any software update or an expansion that they're doing, jump in on that. You want to show that you are what's going on, and put a thoughtful comment in there. Not just, and I've done this in the past, I'll be honest. I would just put like, oh, that's great. Oh, that's interesting. That's not enough. Right? So you could say like, oh, that's very interesting. What I have found is, and now you're bringing your expertise in. right?
So
I have
basically
found that the best way to improve,
provide like a solution for the topic that is being discussed, right?
you
To
got
kind
it.
of have my 2 cents on whatever is the topic, but has to be relevant for that topic, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And then it's think about marketing, right? When you're going to buy something like a high ticket item, let's just say a nice car, right? You don't just
Mhm.
buy it. There's many touch points along the way that tell you this is the right car for you. Okay. So maybe you see an advertisement on TV. Maybe you see your neighbor driving that same car. Maybe then you go to the dealership and you test drive it, right? There's a couple of steps that are involved before you pull the trigger on that high ticket item. So think about that as you as a product. Okay. So I want to be posting on LinkedIn relevant things. I want to be following companies and posting on what they're talking about. I want to look at expert leaders in my field, maybe repost what they have said with my thoughts on it. Now there's a couple of touch points that a recruiter can go, oh, or someone who's an internal recruiter of that company. Oh, who's this guy, Alan, who made this thoughtful comment? And then I go back to his feed. Oh, he really seems to know what he's talking about that. Now the age is not so important. It's that this guy is the solution to our problem and he is a good fit.
Okay, those are good tips. I appreciate that. Okay, thank you.
Florence.
You're welcome. Hope that helps.
It does, yeah.
Okay.
Florence.
Hi, Sheri. Thank you for this wonderful presentation. I do have a question and follow-up. You mentioned that there are certain industries that are much more receptive to older workers. You mentioned the education industry as being one of them. What are some of the other industries, and where can we get more information about that? And how can we find out, get some statistics on industries and whether that they're open to hiring older workers or more experienced workers?
Sure. Well, the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they have a lot of good research on there. LinkedIn has a lot of great research as well. So use AI. Ask AI, pull me up the relevant companies that support older workers. And maybe you're targeting a 30-mile radius within your community, or maybe you're open to online. So this way it can scrub their websites to see if they're actually open to it. I was looking at UBS, for example. They have an older workers program where they bring people back into the workforce who haven't been in the workforce for a while, or who want to pivot into a different industry. And where did I find that information? AI. I'm not going to go through every single company and start looking at all their websites. So I would use AI to do that, to start that initial research for me.
All right.
I hope that helps.
Yes. Any other questions here? And don't forget to check AARP. They also have a list of websites that are friendly for senior workers like us.
Yes. Yes. It's a great website. Tons of resources on there.
Any other
Jeff, this is
other
Nikki.
questions here in the room, online?
Jeff, this is Nikki.
Yes, go ahead.
Hey, I did add in the chat, and I can email it to anybody who wants it, a pared down version of my resume that Sheri helped me put together using a template she had. And every time I got an interview off of that resume, the HR, the recruiter person, always complimented the resume format and how easy it was for them to read and skim and pick out what they needed to know about me. Of course, then it's on me to land the job, right? But it is a resume template that the recruiters and the HR people really responded well to. So it's in the chat, and I can share it with anybody who wants it.
Great. Thank you very
Nikki,
much.
that's the executive level one, right?
I think it is. Yeah, where we have the
Mhm.
milestones and the stuff at the top. And Jeff, if you'll let me
Yep.
share my screen, I can throw it up on the screen in a way people can see it real big.
Let's see here. Yep, you can share it now.
Share, share, share.
Nikki,
Oh, I know what I'm doing.
Nikki, if you'll send it to me, I'll include it in the distribution
I
email.
can do that, yeah.
I'll get this out to everybody tomorrow.
But yeah, I can do that. But here it is. I mean, I've got the, the title at the top, the summary. And this
So
right here is what people
so
love
I
the
have
most.
I have a
Mhm.
question at the very top of your resume. Is it important to list email, phone, and LinkedIn? Because don't people know
Yes.
what the phone number looks like? Do we need to say that?
Yes.
Do you need the
Oh, you don't
word? If
have
he's
to
saying,
write the word phone number. You don't have to write that. But you could. That's not a problem. You'll have to think about space too. Because I like to put it all on one line. So I don't have the word email, But if you have the space for it, because that's also a thing you have to realize that you don't have unlimited space, you can put that on there, but it's not necessary. Like what Nikki's doing, this is the way I usually do it.
Okay. Yep. I just wanted
Mhm.
to say,
and is this the tabular format you were talking about, Cherie, where it's, basically in columns?
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah.
This is an ATS approved template. This is it's like when we have those funky things with like on the left, you got all like you on the left, people will put all their skills, and on the right, they'll put their experience. They don't like that. They like to read from left to right. And you have to just always think, is it making it easier for a recruiter to see my impact? And you see how Nikki bolded some of the quantifiable data. Oh, you're a good client, Nikki. You right? So she highlighted some of those, quantifiable data here, Marks, because that is going to help show her impact quickly.
right.
Yeah, I like this template for more higher level positions.
Right.
And
Okay.
the other thing I did with this, I think it was Phil who had a question earlier about knowing if it's ATS friendly. I copy and paste all of this out and I copy it out and just throw it in a notepad document. And if it's still readable, then it's ATS friendly. If it's not readable, then it's not ATS friendly. That's the tip I was taught.
That's a good point.
Yeah, if you don't have Notepad on your desktop, on your PC computer, you really need to have it because it's a really handy program to use. All right. Well, Sheri, thank you very much for your time. Great information. We'll get everything out.
Thank you.
Everybody will get their email tomorrow with all these everything that we've shared. Just a few more slides and we'll get out of here. Next week, our speaker is going to be Minna Brown. She's going to talk about the one-page bio. She wrote a book called Be Sharp. Be sure if you're going to buy one, get volume 2. But because the second edition has a lot of bios in it that the first edition didn't have, because they found it to be very, very important. So Minna will be with us next Friday morning. This video will get uploaded to the Career USA YouTube channel. Just click on playlist when you go there because every video I post goes into one of 7 different playlists. Once you do that, as you see in the lower left-hand corner, view full playlist, click there and up will come a list in chronological order of all the dates, the title, the speaker, and the speaker's title or the speaker's subject matter, and you can go back and watch any video you want at your convenience. Just know that any of the North Dallas videos, the speaker starts about 30 minutes into the video. LinkedIn Tuesday, next Tuesday at 1 o'clock, Ruth Lipsky will be with us to talk about LinkedIn tools for job search. Ruth is a works for Lee Heck Harrison. She works with job seekers on a daily basis, and she'll share the tools that she's found that are helpful that she shares with her clients. Next Wednesday, the practice interview team is meeting online only. So anybody, anywhere can watch a practice interview on the fourth Wednesday of the month, and then they'll be back to in person on the first, second, third, and fifth Wednesdays. Next Friday, as we mentioned before, Minna Brown will be with us to talk about the one-page bio. Today for lunch, we're going to go to Mama's Pizza. How many people think maybe join us from here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe. So whoever gets there first, try to get us a table for about 8 people. Thanks everybody for joining us today. Have a great weekend. Don't get too wet tomorrow morning when it rains, but everybody else, we'll see you all next week.